Hey friends, Kim from stampingimperfection.com. I'm so happy you're here today. Please make sure you subscribe while you're here and click that bell so you get notifications every time I upload a new video. This video started out to be a quick card sketch video. I wanted to share a cute layout with the sketch I'm using from Atlantic Heart Sketch Challenge this week, and ended up being a video where in the end I'm going to show you how I fixed a card that I didn't really care for. So I'm starting out with this cute stamp set from My Favorite Thing Stamps, which is mftstamps.com, and it's called Always Bring a Smile. I love this stamp set. It's got a ton of cute little images to color, lots of cute sentiments, and when I placed my order, which was a qualifying order, I think that was $60, I got this free paper pack. So when I order from MFT Stamps, I always try to order on Wednesdays because they have lots of specials on Wednesdays, and I always try to place a qualifying order because you get a freebie. And sometimes they tell you what the freebie is, sometimes you get to pick it, sometimes it's a surprise, but I love their pattern paper. Their 6x6 paper packs are amazing. This one is called Buffalo Brights, and it's a great buffalo plaid check pattern, so I love it. Now, the card sketch calls for 3 rectangle shapes, and I decided I wanted to use this Filmstrip die that I got from Sunny Studio Stamps. This is one of my favorite little stamp companies because their prices are excellent, and they have a lot of little stamps and die sets that are super affordable and you can make a ton of cards with. I got this like 2 years ago. This is called the Fall Flicks Filmstrip, and it comes with all those pumpkins and sunflower things. You can make really cute fall card layouts, and beautiful for scrapbook pages. And I have never cut it apart. I just cut it. I cut the whole thing out, and then I have all those pumpkins and sunflowers that I can color in and create things with. So I just have those in a pile that I go to when I need them. So I'm going to start by stamping. I need 3 images because there are supposed to be 3 rectangles, and that film strip piece has 3 spots. So I'm using that big toadstool one with the squirrel. I love it. Then there's a little bird and a little turtle, and there's another image. I think it's a little mouse with a wheelbarrow, but I'm going to take the 2 smaller images. And of course you have to stamp the butterfly and the 2 little toadstools. And I will also use that sentiment that says "Have a relaxing day," and I'll stamp it right on the other end of that paper. And one of the things I always do, because I have not used this stamp set before, I've started to really just get in the habit of always taking my Pentel, this is a high polymer eraser. I just got it at the office supply store. CVS has them, Walmart has them, Target has them in the office supply section, and they usually come with mechanical pencils. So I just use that and rub it on the parts of the stamp I'm going to ink up, and that takes any residue off from the manufacturing process, and I get much better inkings the first time I use a stamp set. There are other ways to condition your stamps, but this is the easiest way for me, and it works the best too. So these are pretty delicate outline stamps, so I was careful to use a detail ink. So I'm using Altenews Obsidian Pigment Ink, and I love this ink for small font sentiments and for outline stamps. And you can see I just inked that once and it was perfect. And on there you'll see that it says exceptionally crisp. So when you're inking small font sentiments or outline sentiments like this, it's good to have an ink that says exceptionally crisp or detail ink or something like that, because you'll get much nicer inkings, and you won't have big blobs, so you'll be much happier. So here's the sketch, and I've colored all of my my images, and I cut them out with my brother Scan and Cut, and it made one little mistake there. It cut out the face of that squirrel, but I'll fix that with some washi tape on the back. Salvaged the piece, so that is an easy fix. I just got the Brother Scan and Cut not too long ago, so I've only used it like 5 or 6 times. And I'm no longer buying coordinating die sets because they've just become too expensive. I'll buy specialty dies, standalone dies, but not the coordinating ones. They're more expensive than the stamp sets. So I've cut this, what I thought was navy blue plaid. It turns out to be purple. It's like a more purple than blue. And I cut that out at 4 by 5 1/4, and I'm using this double-sided sticky tape from scrapbook.com. I quite like this tape. This is a 3/4 inch size, and I attached it to a black cardstock mat that was cut at 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. I don't want very much white peeking around there, and that card base is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, and I scored and folded it at 4 1/4. So here's the sketch. You can see it calls for the 3 pieces. It even shows the plaid, and I love the plaid in the sketch. I have a ton of plaid paper. I just picked this big buffalo plaid because I just got it and it's super cute. So there's this little detail below the 3 rectangles, and I was thinking I would use washi tape, but I realized I didn't love the white film strip on that buffalo plaid, so I die cut a black one, and I wasn't sure I loved that either, and I tried putting one on top of the other and offsetting them, and something about this was just bothering me. I just couldn't put my finger on it. I chose to go ahead and use just the black by itself, which I'm glad I did. In the end, I like the card that I created, but you're going to see that I really changed it a little bit from what I'm doing. I added a couple other pieces of paper that made it so much better. So I put that down, and I'm going to cover the back of all of these little images I colored. And I colored these with my Altenew artist markers. I'm adding some washi tape to attach that little face piece in, and that kind of fixes that. And I used my Altenew artist markers. If you are interested in trying alcohol markers, but you don't want to jump into the investment of Copics, you can start with something like the Altenew sets. They have 60 markers altogether, and the price point is really good. They sell them in sets of 12, and it will be like 4 reds that all layer together and blend, and 4 greens that all layer together and blend. So it takes the guesswork out of what colors to pick. They're meant to blend together. And so I've used a variety of those markers from different sets, and now I'm just attaching my little critters. I just love those little critters. I think they're adorable, and I'm going to add, instead of that washi, because there's not a lot of tape under that film strip now, I'm going to add I just doubled a piece of black baker's twine, and I love this twine. I got that huge roll from Catherine Pooler with one of her recent releases. That is going to last me forever. I haven't used twine in ages, and I've never had just plain black twine. So I was excited to actually see that in her shop. So I've got the twine on there, which is in the sketch. It calls for something. And I had already stamped my sentiment with that same exceptionally crisp Altenew Obsidian Pigment Ink. And I'm just going to cut it in a little pennant, trim off the excess and the excess film strip hanging over. And I'm going to add from Doodlebug Designs, I've got these Beetle Black Glitter enamel dots, and I've had these for a while, and I'm being super stingy with them, but they're so pretty because they sparkle. And I'm just adding those in a couple spots to finish off the card, and I'm trying to add the odd number because that's what everybody always says to do. And it's okay, but it feels really busy. So when I turned the camera off and compared it to the sketch, I realized that the sketch really only called for the plaid behind the squares. And as I was looking at the sketch, I realized that because it looks busy because your eye has no place to rest. There's no white space on this card, so it needs white space. So I I fixed this by taking my craft pick. This is the tonic craft tool. If you don't have one of those, super handy. And I lifted the film strip off. And I was glad at this point that I had used the Altenew tape runner, because that is temporary adhesive until you really push it down. And I hadn't done that yet. So I just cut a couple of strips of white cardstock. On the bottom, I cut it at 5 1/4 by 7/8. And if I had cut it at 1 inch, it probably would have covered the whole bit of purple. And you're going to see there's a little purple showing underneath. I actually liked that. I actually liked that you could still see a little purple under there. Then I just pushed that film strip back down, and I did the same thing on the top, only that was cut at 5 1/4 by 1/4, because that was only 1/4, and I did the same thing there. I lifted the film strip, just slid it under. You can still see the black card base around it. So I fixed it. I feel, looking at it now, I feel like your eye has a place to rest. It's not so cluttered. And I was going to put the same sentiment strip back down because I was careful when I removed it, so I got it off there. And I'll re-add those 2 little sprinkle dots from Doodlebugs there that I had. And I'm still looking at it thinking, I don't love the sentiment. It needs to be stamped directly on that white. I don't like that white sentiment strip on that white piece. So I'm going to go ahead and pull out my MISTI and stamp that directly on the card, because that's one thing I don't like. And here you can see the sketch. You can see in the sketch that Plaid isn't everywhere. It's just behind the squares, and it looks so much better. So here it is after I stamped the sentiment directly on the card base, and I like that so much better. Like, now my eyes have a place to rest. It doesn't look quite so busy. I still have my cute critters in that fabulous buffalo plaid in purple. So I've got a lot of color here, and I really like the card. I think it's great. We'd love to have you join us at the Atlantic Heart Sketch Challenge. Please make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to my channel. Click the bell so you get notifications every time I upload a video. Make sure you check out the links below, and thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you spending some of your day with me. Have a wonderful day.